Cipher is the new up-and-coming quantum nihility unit that specializes in debuffing enemies in a unique way, combined with really solid personal damage. So let's quickly cover Cipher's best Lightcones, Relics, Teamcomps, and Eidolon Value. First up, as usual, Cipher's signature is a significant upgrade over all the other options. Not only does it provide a chunky amount of defense shred, but a nice 18% speed buff as well, making her a lot easier to build for damage. Plus, more accurate on stack building. Now, her free-to-play alternatives will be Pearls of Sweat. Just like Pela, this Lightcone is incredible on debuffers. However, it won't build as many stacks as her signature will for Acheron comps. Goodnight Sleep Well is a decent personal damage upgrade, but doesn't help your team. Holiday Escapade is pretty solid, providing 16% damage increase to Cipher and a 10% vulnerability to enemies for 2 turns, but it runs into the same stack building problem, so it's better in the Fei Zhao teams. Also, some people are talking about the viability of Acheron's signature on her, and I mean, it's pretty niche. Like, you have to have her signature already, and then you need to prefer to use her with Fei Zhao, because her signature is going to be better on Acheron. But even in this niche scenario, yeah, it's a massive DPS increase, but otherwise it's not really worth it. For Cipher's relics, she prefers the Pioneer Diver set. Honestly, any debuffing character that does damage wants this set. It's free crit for the characters that inflict debuffs. The Quantum set is also pretty decent on her. She is Quantum, but it's weird when you're fighting non-Quantum weak enemies, as the Diver set will be a little bit better, but if the enemies are Quantum weak, it does actually perform a little bit better than the Diver set. Either way, that 10% defense shred does make a difference, but not really worth changing builds all the time. So just stick with the Diver set. And then if you want to go full support for Cipher, where she's getting the most action value, put the Wind set on her, of course. She ults a lot in her rotations, and the set effect just gets spammed. Then for the plant ornaments, Glamoth is best because she should always be at 170 speed at least, maxing this set out. Durin is also really good because of her follow-up spam, especially with Fei Zhao. And then there's the full support options like Lushaka, Penacony if she's with Acheron, Von Whack, all those. But I really suggest Glamoth as what you should farm for. Now the main stats: crit damage on the body, speed on the boots, quantum damage on the orb, and ER% on the rope. So you can run attack for a bit more personal damage, but being able to spam her ult more frequently will just have better value overall. So I say stick with the ER. Now the substats, there are a few things you need to go for. Firstly and most importantly, at least 170 speed because of her A2 passive. It's a free 50% crit rate. I mean, like, it's crazy. It also means you shouldn't get too much crit rate elsewhere because she'll easily overcap. Instead, aim for as much crit damage as possible. So speed first, at least 170, crit damage second, attack percent, and go for a little bit of crit rate, or I guess flat attack. It's kind of the only useful stat left. But let's move on to team comps. Immediately, I'm starting with Acheron Hyper Carry because there's a lot to say. So Cipher is a very good stack builder, but there is a lot of reliance on her signature. Firstly, she's never better than JIAOQIU. No one is. Let's just get that out of the way. But with her signature, she is better than Pela. Now, compared to Silverwolf, it's sort of hard to say because her buffs make her better than Pela in this comp, and at this time, it's hard to compare the two as of now. I think it's a safe bet to say Cipher will still be a bit better for Acheron comps than buffed Silverwolf. So for you E0 or E1 Acheron mains, she is an upgrade with her signature over Pela. However, Fei Zhao gets the most value out of Cipher because of how frequent her follow-ups are. So they both synergize very well with each other, and she does not rely on her signature as much in this comp because she doesn't need to build debuff stacks. She just does follow-ups in this comp and works great. Now, besides these two comps, she's not really useful anywhere else because her two main gimmicks are debuffing and follow-upping, which really only applies to Acheron and Fei Zhao. But I guess she is usable in other comps because she does debuff. I just think there's a lot more universal buffers and debuffers than Cipher. Now, finally, the last section, Eidolon Value. First things first, her signature is way better, so get that first. But E1, Cipher's recorded damage is 150% of its original. Recorded damage is just the coins you see. It's her ult mechanic or talent. Plus, when a follow-up is caused by her talent, which means any ally attacks the marked enemy, her patron, it increases her attack by 80% for 2 turns. So this is a pretty significant Eidolon because not only does it increase her damage, but the diminishing return of attack is high enough to where an attack percent rope is never better over an ER percent with E1. One of her best Eidolons for sure. E2, when Cipher hits an enemy, they receive 30% more damage for 2 turns. This is just a straight up big team-wide DPS increase. It's universal and good, so it's also worth it. It's a really good stopping point for light spenders, and I don't really suggest going past E2. E4, when the marked patron enemy gets hit by an ally, Cipher deals additional damage equal to 50% of her attack. Now this is not considered an attack, so it's not a follow-up. They just decided to make this garbage. Is what it is. E6 increases Cipher's follow-up damage by 350%, plus it records 16% more non-overflow damage. And after her ult resets the count, 20% of it is returned. So what this means is she's able to maintain that talent number a lot more, which results in just massive ult nukes constantly getting bigger and bigger each rotation. It's a crazy DPS increase, but honestly, E2 is a perfectly good stopping point. But that wraps up Cipher's guide. As someone who's a Dodgeron enjoyer, waiting on those Kafka buffs, which by the way, looking pretty good. Easy skip. Why use the most broken Acheron comp when you can just use the hottest?